What's up, guys? Nuance Bro checking in, and today we're going to be talking about the U.S. Navy and a new report that came out that deals with diversity and wokeness. So last year, the Navy established Task Force 1 to battle discrimination and increase diversity in the Navy. And recently that report was published, so let's take a look. So here we can see Task Force 1 Navy, respect, honor, courage, commitment. Our Navy team navigating a course to true north. Now let's scroll down to the business. And here we see a report about the demographics of the force of the Navy. And on the left here, you can see the 2018 census numbers for demographics throughout the country: 76% white, 13% black, 6% Asian, Hispanic ethnicity, 18%, and females at 51%. As you can see here, if you add up all those numbers when it comes to race and ethnicity, it's over 100%. So they're including Hispanics in these other figures, most of which would fit under the category of white. And right next to all this, you can see the percentages of these different categories as officers and enlisted. So for officers, we can see 77% are white, 8% are black, 6% are Asian, 9% Hispanic, 20% are women. And for the enlisted, 59% are white, 19% are black, 6% are Asian, 18% Hispanic, 20% women. So immediately you can probably notice that blacks are overrepresented in enlisted, underrepresented in officers. Hispanics are perfectly represented in enlisted, but underrepresented in officers, and females are underrepresented across the board. Asians, perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
Perfectly balanced, as all things should be.
So this is a problem for the Navy. They want to be a diverse fighting force that represents the nation and its people and is comprised of the people of this nation, which are a diverse set of people. And what does it say about our Navy or military at large when you have certain races that are a higher proportion of officers compared to enlisted than others? Does it say that our military is racist, or does it suggest that other races are inferior or superior? What is it? Well, the Navy immediately saw a problem and they decided to try and fix it. And what remedy did they use to do that? Well, let's take a look. So going back to the Task Force 1 report, we can see that there is this pie chart, and this represents the metrics by which they select officers. So as you can see, this pie chart involves mostly academics: SAT math, SAT verbal, high school GPA, and others. Athletics is a very minor part of this pie chart. Here's where we can see the change that has been done in order to accommodate a higher number of diverse officers. While any best fit model allows for some correction of error or bias, it does open the model up to human bias. Both USNA and NROTC have identified disparities in minority SAT scores. In November of 2020, NROTC adjusted their model to a 45% academic and 55% whole person construct. For NROTC, this reduced the weight and proportionality of the SAT for future candidates. Although officer accessions and admissions were discussed, similar efforts for recruiting enlisted sailors as well as civilians should be employed to ensure that the Navy is bringing in diverse talent. So basically, they noticed the lower SAT scores for the particular minority applicants. So what did they do? They decided to lower the weight of the SAT portion of the qualifications for being an officer. So by lowering standards, they got more of the diversity that they were seeking. Now, while I think diversity in our armed forces that reflects the diversity in our nation is a noble goal, I don't think we should be lowering standards in order to achieve it. But that's not my biggest problem with this report. This isn't even the wokiest of the woke aspects of this report. For that, we have to go down, where we see this pledge. The Task Force 1 Navy Pledge. And the pledge goes, "As a key member of Task Force 1 Navy, I will invest time, attention, and empathy required to analyze, evaluate Navy-wide issues related to racism, sexism, ableism, and other structural and interpersonal biases.
I don't know about you, but frankly, I'm sick and tired of how minority groups are marginalized in today's society.
I pledge to be actively inclusive in the public and private spheres where I live and work, and proactively encourage others to do the same."
Topher, can you explain? Check your privilege, please.
It's getting someone to acknowledge their own inherent privileges and reminding them to put them aside in order to better understand another human's plight.
I pledge to advocate for and acknowledge all lived experiences and intersectional identities of every sailor in the Navy.
Where are the Hispanic kids? Huh? Where are the ethnic and racial minorities?
I pledge to engage in ongoing self-reflection, education, and knowledge sharing to better myself and my communities.
Now, I don't want to see any f***ing sombreros All right, if I see any f***ing Mexican sombreros or anyone f***ing dressed like a f***ing Native American, I'm gonna lose my f***ing shit.
I pledge to be an example in establishing healthy, inclusive, and team-oriented environments.
Did you just use a term that excludes women from an occupation?
I pledge to constructively share all experiences and information gained from activities above to inform development of Navy-wide reforms. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Navy is going full woke with the intersectionality stuff. Now, if you don't know where the term intersectionality comes from, well, let's take a look. So the origin of the term intersectionality was coined in 1989 by Kimberly Crenshaw, a civil rights activist and legal scholar, and the term started to gain prominence in the 1990s after the writings of sociologist Patricia Hill Collins, but it falls under this broader idea of Marxist feminist critical theory. As we can see it stated here, Collins uses a Marxist feminist approach and applies her intersectional principles to what she calls the work/family nexus in Black women's poverty. In her 2000 article, Black Political Economy, she describes how, in her view, the intersections of consumer racism, gender hierarchies, and disadvantages in the labor market can be centered on Black women's unique experiences. But it didn't really become widely used until just a few years ago. In fact, it wasn't even added to the Oxford Dictionary until 2015. So not only is the Navy lowering standards for officers in order to fulfill some diversity quota, they're also employing literal Marxist terminology in their Task Force 1 report. So while you have North Korean soldiers that are bending metal bars and breaking their bones in order to be as tough as possible, even though they're surviving on like one loaf of bread a day, here we have the U.S. military lowering standards, not just in the Navy, but potentially in the Army as well. Anyways, guys, I wanted to keep this video fairly short and quick. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Social media links are in the description box below, as well as merch. Support us at nuancebro.com/join, and I'll see you next time, bro.